The massive observation screens displayed Earth in all its blue-green glory, rotating slowly against the backdrop of infinite darkness. Royal Strategist Efiri strode into the control room with measured steps, his long, ceremonial cape barely brushing the polished floors of the Irradian observation station. His thin lips curved into what passed for a smile among his species, a slight twitch at the corners of his mouth that revealed nothing of warmth, but everything of ambition. "Status report," he commanded, his voice carrying the distinctive metallic resonance of the Irradian royal court. Chief Observer Lahir turned from her console, her multiple eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of nervousness among their kind. "All systems operational. Royal Strategist. Earth continues its regular patterns. No significant deviations in planetary defense capabilities since our last assessment." Efiri nodded, satisfied. The Irradian Empire had successfully colonized 6 planets across 3 star systems. But Earth represented something different, a challenge worthy of his strategic brilliance. Humans were resilient and unpredictable, qualities that made them dangerous if allowed to develop further. The Emperor himself had tasked Efiri with solving the human problem before their expansion reached the outer rim where Irradian territories began. "Excellent," Efiri said, moving to the central platform. With a gesture, he expanded the holographic display, zooming into continental landmasses, teeming with human cities and infrastructure. "Today marks the beginning of the end for this troublesome species." The observation team exchanged uncomfortable glances. They had served under Efiri long enough to recognize when one of his grand schemes was about to unfold. "Royal Strategist," ventured Lahir carefully. "The Emperor approved only observation and data collection for this cycle. The colonization assessment isn't scheduled until—" "The Emperor," interrupted Efiri. "Entrust me with accelerating timelines when opportunities present themselves." He reached into his ceremonial vestments and withdrew a small, crystalline container that pulsed with an eerie bioluminescent glow. "Behold, the masterwork of our Biological Institute, the ultimate viral weapon, designed specifically for human eradication." A collective gasp rippled through the control room. The observation team was comprised of scientists and analysts, not military personnel. Creating biological weapons violated several protocols of their mission parameters. Observer Dranix, the station's senior epidemiologist, stepped forward. "With respect, Royal Strategist, biological warfare against a pre-space civilization requires special authorization from the Imperial Scientific Council. We haven't completed essential baseline studies on human immune responses." "Your concern is noted, Observer," Efiri said dismissively, "but unnecessary. The Biological Institute has run over 10,000 simulations. This pathogen is perfect, designed to exploit fundamental weaknesses in human biology while remaining harmless to any species we might later introduce to the planet." Lahir's eye stalks quivered with apprehension. "Simulations are not field tests, Royal Strategist. The protocols exist for a reason. Without proper—" Efiri's patience visibly thinned. He tapped his royal insignia, and a holographic recording materialized in the center of the room. The imposing figure of Emperor Vikran himself appeared, his ceremonial crown glinting with the rare minerals of conquered worlds. "The brilliance of Royal Strategist Efiri continues to serve our glorious expansion," the Emperor's recording announced. "His strategies have secured 3 worlds with minimal resource expenditure. I commend his foresight and grant him extended authority in matters of pre-colonization assessment." The recording flickered out, leaving the room in uncomfortable silence. The implied threat was clear. Opposing Efiri meant opposing the Emperor himself. "Now," Efiri continued smoothly, "I require the nanoprinter to manufacture delivery systems for the pathogen." Technical specialist Zovrik cleared his throat, a sound like grinding metal. "The station's nanoprinter reservoir is at 43% capacity. Royal Strategist. Manufacturing viral delivery systems would deplete our emergency repair capabilities below safety thresholds. A temporary inconvenience for a permanent solution, Efiri countered. Once Earth is cleared for colonization, the Imperial fleet will resupply the station 100-fold. The debate continued for hours. The observation team presented argument after argument, scientific, technical, ethical, but Efiri systematically dismantled each one. He had clearly prepared for this confrontation, arming himself with counter-arguments, imperial directives, and thinly veiled threats of reassignment to the mining colonies of Nexar 4. Eventually, the team relented. With great reluctance, Chief Observer Lehir authorized the use of the nanoprinter to manufacture the viral delivery systems according to the specifications provided by the Biological Institute. "You are making the correct decision," Efiri assured them, as the nanoprinter hummed to life. "The Empire rewards those who facilitate progress. When we present the Emperor with a habitable planet, ripe for colonization, your names will be mentioned alongside mine." None of the observation team looked particularly comforted by this promise. Over the next 3 days, the station's resources were diverted to create a fleet of microscopic probes designed to disperse the engineered virus throughout Earth's atmosphere. Each probe contained enough viral material to infect thousands of humans, with the virus itself programmed to replicate rapidly and spread through respiratory transmission. "The beauty of this approach," Efiri explained during the final briefing, "is its deniability. Humans will believe they are experiencing a natural pandemic. Their primitive medical science will be helpless. Within 6 lunar cycles, their population will be reduced to negligible numbers, and any survivors will be too weak to resist our settlement teams." Observer Dranix studied the pathogen's genetic sequence with growing concern. "This virus targets multiple systems simultaneously: respiratory, immune, neurological. The suffering will be extensive." "Suffering is temporary," Efiri said with a dismissive wave. "Extinction is permanent. The universe favors efficiency. Observer Dranix, remember that." On the 4th day, the delivery system was complete. A single probe, no larger than an Iradian writing stylus, was loaded onto the station's precision launcher. Once deployed, it would enter Earth's atmosphere, divide into millions of subprobes, and disperse the virus globally, beginning in densely populated areas for maximum spread. "Launch sequence initiated," announced technical specialist Zovrik, his voice flat with resignation. Efiri watched with undisguised satisfaction as the launcher powered up. "Mark this moment," he declared. "Future generations of Iradians will learn of this day as the beginning of our greatest expansion." The probe streaked away from the station, a tiny silver speck against the vastness of space, carrying what Efiri believed to be the doom of humanity. The observation team established monitoring protocols to track the virus's spread. According to the Biological Institute's projections, the first human infections would appear within days, with exponential growth beginning by the 2nd week. Efiri ordered hourly reports to be sent directly to his quarters. Initial data was promising. The probe successfully entered Earth's atmosphere and deployed its viral payload across multiple continents. Surveillance systems detected the first human infections right on schedule, primarily in densely populated urban centers. Efiri was summoned to the Imperial Palace 2 weeks later to present his progress report to Emperor Vikrin personally. He strode confidently through the grand halls, passing ancient trophies from conquered worlds. Today, he would secure his place in Iradian history. The imperial court was assembled in full regalia. Ministers, generals, and royal advisors arrayed in precise formation, according to rank and favor. Emperor Vikrin sat upon the crystalline throne, his multiple limbs arranged in the formal position of imperial attention. "Royal strategist Efiri," the emperor's voice resonated through the chamber. "You requested this audience to report on your Earth initiative. The court awaits your triumphant news." Efiri bowed with practiced elegance. Most luminous Emperor, conqueror of stars and destinies chosen, I come bearing news of imminent victory. The pathogen has been successfully deployed to the target planet and has begun its work. Human cities are reporting thousands of infections, spreading exactly as our models predicted. He activated a holographic display, showing Earth with spreading red indicators of viral infection. Our observation teams report that human medical facilities are overwhelmed. Their social media networks overflow with reports of this new illness. They call it superflu or megacold in their primitive languages. The Emperor's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of pleasure. Excellent. What is your projected timeline for population reduction to colonization-safe levels? Based on infection rates and the pathogen's lethality profile, we estimate 3 to 4 lunar cycles before their global infrastructure collapses. Full colonization readiness should be achieved within 6. A court attendant interrupted, rushing forward with a data crystal. Urgent communication from the Earth Observation Station. Luminous Emperor. Efiri frowned. He had left explicit instructions not to be disturbed during his imperial presentation. Whatever this was, it had better be important enough to justify the interruption. The Emperor gestured, and the attendant inserted the crystal into the court's communication array. Chief Observer Lahir's image appeared, her eye stalks rigid with distress. Imperial forgiveness requested for this interruption, she began, using the formal court language. Critical developments require immediate attention. The human response to the pathogen has deviated significantly from projections. Efiri felt a chill ripple through his exoskeleton. Explain, he commanded. The virus has infected millions as predicted. Lahir continued. But the mortality rate is practically zero. Humans are experiencing mild symptoms only, what they classify as common cold or minor flu effects. Their immune systems are neutralizing the virus with unexpected efficiency. The court erupted in murmurs. Emperor Vikran raised a limb for silence. Impossible, Efiri declared. The Biological Institute's simulations showed a 98% fatality rate. Their models accounted for all known variables in human physiology. Nevertheless, Lahir continued, humans are recovering rapidly. Most are continuing normal activities after just 2 to 3 days of rest. They are treating symptoms with primitive herbal remedies and something called chicken soup. Chicken soup? Efiri repeated incredulously. Yes, royal strategist. It appears to be a heated liquid containing avian protein and various plant materials. Humans consume it during respiratory illnesses. Their social networks are filled with humor about our virus. They're creating memes, comparing it favorably to their seasonal illnesses. The holographic display updated to show human social media posts. Images of humans smiling while holding steaming bowls, with captions like, Alien Superbug versus Grandma's Chicken Soup, Soup Wins Again, and Dear Space Invaders. Thanks for the 3-day weekend. Next time, try harder. Silence fell over the imperial court. Emperor Vikran's outer membrane changed color, a dangerous sign. Royal strategist Efiri, the Emperor said, his voice dangerously controlled. You assured me this operation was based on infallible science. You diverted imperial resources for what now appears to be an interplanetary embarrassment. Efiri struggled to maintain composure. There must be an explanation. Luminous Emperor. Perhaps a mutation occurred during deployment, or... The Biological Institute director has just informed me, interrupted the Emperor, that their models were based entirely on theoretical constructs. No actual testing was conducted on human biological samples, because you personally approved an acceleration of the timeline. The court's murmurs grew louder. Efiri could feel his carefully cultivated reputation crumbling. Furthermore, continued the Emperor, the probe's material reservoir has been depleted. The observation station reports that they lack sufficient nanomaterials for essential repairs and will require emergency resupply. From the side chamber emerged military strategist Novich, Efiri's chief rival in the imperial court. Luminous Emperor, if I may speak, he said with exaggerated deference. This failure raises serious concerns about the reliability of our intelligence on Earth. Years of observation data may be fundamentally flawed if we so drastically misunderstood human biological resilience. A valid point. Military strategist Novich, the Emperor agreed. Perhaps a more conventional approach to the Earth question is warranted. One based on proven methodologies, rather than hasty biological experiments. Afiri watched in horror as his grand strategy and his career disintegrated before him. Luminous Emperor, I request the opportunity to rectify this temporary setback. With additional resources, you have expended your allotment of imperial resources. Royal strategist, the Emperor cut him off. And my patience. He turned to his chief administrator. Schedule a comprehensive review of all Earth observation protocols and personnel, effective immediately. The imperial court session concluded, with Afiri standing rigid, publicly humiliated. As the courtiers filed out, he could hear their whispered comments and barely suppressed amusement. The mighty royal strategist, defeater of 3 worlds, brought low by chicken soup and human memes. Back at the Earth observation station, the team worked frantically to understand their miscalculation. Observer Dranix had finally obtained actual human biological samples through remote collection drones and was analyzing them against the virus. Fascinating, he muttered as Lahir entered the laboratory. Their immune system architecture is remarkably different from our models. The Biological Institute's simulations were based on incomplete data. Lahir's eye stalks drooped with exhaustion. The Emperor has ordered a full investigation. Replacement staff will arrive with the resupply ship next month. We'll all be reassigned, Dranix said glumly. The mining colonies of Nexar 4 suddenly seem likely. It's worse than reassignment, Lahir replied. This failure has emboldened the military faction. Military strategist Novich is already proposing a direct intervention strategy. Orbital bombardment, followed by conventional invasion. Dranix's appendages trembled. That would be catastrophic. Humans may be more resilient than we anticipated, but they're still a pre-space civilization. Such aggression violates all colonization protocols. Protocols matter little when imperial pride is wounded, Lahir observed bitterly. This debacle has cost us more than our careers. It may have condemned Earth to a far worse fate than Afiri's virus. On the screens above them, live feeds showed humans going about their daily lives, blissfully unaware of the imperial drama unfolding millions of light-years away. In countless homes across the planet, people sipped chicken soup, shared humorous memes about the alien super-cold, and continued their existence, unexpectedly saved by the combination of their own biology and a simple traditional remedy that had survived countless generations. In his private quarters, Afiri reviewed the failure analysis reports with growing dread. The virus that was supposed to be his crowning achievement had been neutralized by the most basic human defenses. Worse, the entire operation had drained critical resources and exposed dangerous gaps in their understanding of Earth. A communication alert chimed. Emperor Vikran's personal sigil appeared on the screen. A direct imperial communication. With trembling appendages, Afiri accepted the connection. Royal strategist, the Emperor began without preamble. The court factions are calling for exemplary punishment. The military advocates for your immediate demotion. The scientific consortium suggests your reassignment to deep space monitoring. Afiri lowered his eye stalks in submission. I accept whatever judgment the luminous Emperor deems appropriate. Neither option addresses the fundamental issue, the Emperor continued. Our understanding of Earth is clearly flawed, perhaps catastrophically so. Yes, luminous Emperor. Therefore, you will return to the observation station. You will personally oversee a complete reassessment of human capabilities. You will not return to the Imperial Court until you can provide verified, tested intelligence on every aspect of human biology, technology, and culture. Efiri stared in shock. Not punishment, but a second chance? This is not mercy. Strategist, the Emperor added, sensing his surprise. This is pragmatism. You created this disaster. You will rectify it. If humans can defeat our ultimate virus with soup, what else have we miscalculated? Find out. The Empire's future expansion may depend on it. The communication ended, leaving Efiri alone with the enormity of his task. On the screen beside him, a human child laughed while eating soup, steam rising from the bowl like a victory flag. The most sophisticated bioweapon in the history of the Irradian Empire had been defeated by chicken soup. And now, Efiri's fate was tied to understanding how. As days stretched into weeks, the observation station maintained its vigilant watch over Earth. The virus continued to spread, but with all the impact of a mild seasonal illness, humans recovered quickly, their medical systems easily managing the caseload. Some regions reported the virus had already run its course, with immunity spreading faster than the infection itself. Observer Dranix made a breakthrough in his analysis of human biological samples. He requested an emergency meeting with Efiri and the observation team. I've identified the primary failure point in our viral approach, he announced, displaying complex molecular structures on the laboratory screens. Human immune systems possess an adaptability we didn't account for. They produce remarkable varieties of antibodies at speeds our models considered impossible. Technical specialist Zovrik studied the data. Could our sensors be malfunctioning? These response rates exceed known biological parameters. I've verified the readings through multiple collection methods, Dranix insisted. It's real, but that's not the most interesting part. He highlighted a particular molecular interaction. This compound, found in their chicken soup, contains properties that actively support their immune response. It's not just nutrition, it's genuinely medicinal. Chief Observer Lehir turned to Efiri. Royal Strategist, this suggests humans have developed sophisticated biological countermeasures, disguised as primitive cultural practices. Their folk remedies may represent advanced medical knowledge encoded in traditional forms. Efiri felt a new kind of dread forming. If humans had hidden such knowledge in something as simple as soup, what other capabilities might be concealed beneath their seemingly primitive exterior? We need to reassess everything, he declared. Not just their biology, but their cultural practices, their information systems, their response to crisis. The Emperor demands complete understanding before any further action is considered. The team dispersed to their respective research stations, a new urgency in their movements. Efiri remained in the observation center, watching Earth rotate slowly on the main screen. The blue-green planet that had nearly destroyed his career now represented his only path to redemption. Months passed. The observation station became a hive of intensive research. Every aspect of human civilization underwent scrutiny and reassessment. The virus incident, now referred to as the soup debacle in private conversations, had triggered the most comprehensive study of a pre-space civilization in imperial history. Efiri compiled the findings into a massive report for the Emperor. The conclusions were disturbing. 1. Human biological adaptability exceeded all previous estimates. Their immune systems evolved rapidly in response to new threats. 2. Human cultural practices often contain sophisticated survival knowledge disguised as traditions or superstitions. 3. Human social cohesion strengthened during crises, contrary to imperial models that predicted societal fragmentation. 4. Human information networks allowed for rapid dissemination of effective countermeasures, enabling global responses to localized threats. The implications were clear. Conventional colonization strategies would likely fail against humanity. Their apparent technological inferiority masked surprising resilience and adaptability. Before submitting his report, Efiri added a personal recommendation: postpone any Earth colonization plans indefinitely. The resources required to successfully overcome human resistance would exceed the potential benefits of acquiring the planet. He sent the report with a mixture of dread and resignation. His career was likely over, regardless of the Emperor's response. Suggesting abandonment of a potential colony world was unprecedented for a royal strategist. 3 days later, an Imperial transport arrived at the observation station. Efiri prepared himself for arrest and transportation to a penal colony. Instead, military strategist Novich disembarked, accompanied by a contingent of Imperial guards. "Royal strategist Efiri," Novich announced formally. "By decree of Emperor Vikrin, you are hereby reassigned." Efiri straightened his posture, determined to face his fate with dignity. "I accept the Emperor's judgment." "You misunderstand," Novich continued, a hint of grudging respect in his tone. "You are reassigned to the Imperial Strategic Council, with specific oversight of all pre-colonization assessments. The Emperor was impressed by your willingness to acknowledge failure and adjust Imperial strategy accordingly." Efiri's eye stalks quivered in shock. "The Emperor accepted my recommendation?" "With modifications," Novich replied. "Earth will not be abandoned as a potential colony world. But our approach will change. No direct intervention for at least 100 cycles. Instead, we will observe and learn. The Emperor believes humanity may eventually destroy itself without our assistance. If not," he paused, "if not, they may become valuable allies rather than subjects." As Efiri prepared to depart the observation station, he took one final look at the monitoring screens. A human family shared a meal, steam rising from bowls on their table. Such a simple thing, heated liquid with biological nutrients. Yet it had changed the course of 2 civilizations. "Continue monitoring all human food preparation and consumption patterns," he instructed Chief Observer Lahir. "Especially their medicinal traditions. There may be more we can learn from their soup." Lahir nodded, her eye stalks showing the Iradian equivalent of a smile. "Perhaps we should establish a culinary research division." "Perhaps we should," Efiri agreed, surprising himself with the thought. After all, if we cannot conquer them, we might at least understand them, beginning with their most powerful weapon. As his transport departed for the imperial capital, Efiri found himself contemplating a universe suddenly more complex and interesting than he had previously imagined. A universe where an advanced civilization's ultimate bioweapon could be defeated by chicken soup, and where such a defeat might ultimately lead to greater wisdom than victory ever could. In countless kitchens across Earth, humans continued preparing their ancient remedy, entirely unaware that somewhere among the stars, an alien empire now studied their soup recipes with the diligence usually reserved for advanced weapon systems. And perhaps, in that cosmic irony, lay the greatest protection Earth could hope for, being so fundamentally misunderstood that even their simplest traditions became objects of bewildered alien fascination. Years later, when the Iradian Empire finally made official first contact with Earth, their diplomatic vessel arrived bearing an unusual gift, a collection of Iradian medicinal broths, offered in respectful exchange for the recipe of that most mysterious and powerful of human concoctions, chicken soup. The humans, naturally, found this hilarious, but welcomed their new galactic neighbors with open arms and steaming bowls of their grandmother's best recipes. It wasn't the first time food had prevented a war, but it was certainly the first time it had done so on an interplanetary scale. And royal strategist Efiri, now Imperial Ambassador Efiri, finally understood the lesson that would define his legacy. True power lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to recognize when you've been outsmarted by soup. The grand imperial conquest had given way to the galaxy's most unlikely cultural exchange program, all because they tested their ultimate plague on Earth, and it lost to chicken soup.